Have you ever sat in a coffee shop and tried to spot the millionaire in the room? If you are like most people, your eyes immediately dart to the loudest person. You probably look for the guy wearing a massive Rolex. Or maybe you notice the woman dripping in designer logos. You might even spot the person who just parked a brand new luxury SUV right out front. But I have been in the world of finance for over a decade now. I spent 3 years studying it in school. Then, I spent 9 exhausting years working directly in the banking industry. Now, I spend my time teaching these financial concepts to thousands of people right here on this YouTube channel. And over the years, I have noticed a massive recurring pattern. The people who actually have real, generational money do not act the way society expects them to. They are absolutely not flashy with their cash. They are never loud about their success. Honestly, you could sit next to a multimillionaire on a flight for 5 hours and have absolutely no idea. But here is the secret. Once you know exactly what to look for, the signs of secret wealth are everywhere. They are hiding in plain sight, completely ignoring the traditional rules of status. So in this video, we are going to break down the undeniable signs that someone is secretly wealthy. More importantly, I am going to show you how adopting these exact same habits can completely change your own financial life. We will dive deep into the psychology behind each of these behaviors, and I will give you actionable steps to apply them today. But before we get into the very first sign, let me ask you a quick favor. If you want to master your money and build real wealth, take 1 second to hit that subscribe button down below. It is completely free, and it helps me bring you more content just like this every single week. All right, let's get right into it. The very first sign of secret wealth might surprise you. It has nothing to do with what they wear or what they drive. The first sign is that they are weirdly calm when money comes up in conversation. Think about how the average person reacts to money talk. It is usually incredibly awkward. The second that salaries, rent, or the cost of living get mentioned, you can feel a shift in the room. People instantly get defensive. They start comparing themselves to others. They immediately try to change the subject because it feels way too uncomfortable. But secretly wealthy people do not do this. They can talk about money the exact same way they talk about the weather outside. There is absolutely no weird energy attached to the topic. There is no desperate flexing. There is no fake downplaying either. To them, money is just simple information. It is a metric, not a measure of their personal worth. And here's the thing you need to understand about this calmness. It is not just a genetic personality trait. It is a direct result of their financial position. If you really think about it, strong emotional reactions to money usually mean one specific thing. They almost always point to feelings of scarcity or insecurity. When you are genuinely calm around money, you operate at a massive advantage. You can actually negotiate your salary better because you are not operating out of fear. You can plan for the long term without emotionally spiraling out of control. You can invest rationally instead of panic selling when the market dips. So, how do you actually build this mindset? If you want to get more comfortable around money, here are a few things that worked wonders for me. First, you need to practice using entirely neutral language. Stop assigning heavy emotional weight to numbers. Instead of loudly saying something is ridiculously expensive, just say the actual number. Say, "That jacket is $120. Do not say it is expensive or cheap. Just state the absolute fact. Second, you must do regular scheduled money check-ins. I know it sounds incredibly boring, but looking at your finances weekly makes the numbers familiar. And psychological familiarity absolutely kills financial anxiety. Third, try to talk about money on purpose in low-stakes environments. Have casual conversations with your close friends or your partner. The goal is not to agree on every single financial philosophy. The goal is simply to desensitize yourself to the topic entirely. Now let's move on to the second sign someone is secretly wealthy. They spend their money on the most boring stuff imaginable. I am talking about hiring great accountants. I am talking about premium insurance policies. They buy index funds and quality tools that make their daily lives easier. None of this spending is flashy. It is fiercely un-Instagrammable, but it is ruthlessly effective. This perfectly illustrates the classic divide between real wealth and toxic consumption. Flashy spending is all about designer bags, luxury cars, and expensive holidays that you just have to post about. But flashy spending creates 3 massive problems for your future. 1, it depreciates incredibly fast the moment you buy it. 2, it immediately inflates your lifestyle baseline. Suddenly, you need to earn way more money just to maintain the exact same feeling of happiness. And 3, It creates intense social pressure to keep up appearances. Boring spending does the exact opposite of all that. It acts as a shield and protects you when things inevitably go wrong. It compounds quietly in the background over years and decades. And it frees up your mental and physical bandwidth so you can focus on things that actually matter. In fact, deep research on consumer spending completely backs this up. Buying experiences, time-saving services, and stress-reducing systems correlates heavily with long-term life satisfaction. Material status goods only ever give you a short-lived happiness spike. In other words, boring spending lasts much longer than flashy spending. Here's the funny thing, though. Nobody has ever posted a photo on Instagram and captioned it, "Just hired a great accountant, feeling blessed." But that boring accountant might quietly be the exact reason they get to retire a decade early. So, how can you adopt this habit right now? Start by running a strict audit on your maintenance spending. Ask yourself what purchases actually keep your life running smoothly. You should invest there first before you ever upgrade your lifestyle items. Second, prioritize spending that permanently reduces recurring friction. Look for one-time costs that eliminate ongoing daily stress. Things like smart home systems, professional help, or workflow automation usually pay for themselves. Third, intentionally delay your visible upgrades. Force yourself to wait a specific period of time before buying anything purely status-based. If you still want it after the novelty wears off, that is completely fine. But you will find that most purchases simply do not survive the pause. Finally, start tracking your returns in time and energy, not just excitement. If a boring purchase saves you an hour a week, it is probably a genius financial decision. And that leads us perfectly into the third sign. The third sign that someone is secretly wealthy is that they are noticeably unhurried when it comes to money. I am not talking about being indecisive. I am definitely not talking about being lazy either. I mean that they genuinely do not let external urgency rush their choices. They never panic buy during massive market hype cycles. They refuse to rush into investments just because everyone else on social media is doing it. Instead, they pause. They ask difficult questions. They are completely comfortable looking someone in the eye and saying, "I will think about that," because they know that long-term wealth is not built by chasing every single good opportunity. It is built by avoiding catastrophic bad decisions and letting compounding work uninterrupted. Here is the golden rule for this mindset. You want to make low-stakes decisions very quickly, but you want to make high-stakes decisions incredibly slowly. And this applies to almost every aspect of a successful life. It applies to your career choices, your business ventures, and your major life decisions. If you want to get better at not rushing, you have to create friction. Start by introducing a mandatory pause rule for yourself today. For any big financial decision, force yourself to wait at least 24 hours. For small impulse buys, wait 7 days. For medium-sized commitments, wait 30 days. Because fake urgency always fades, and logical clarity usually improves. Second, ask yourself this one powerful question. What happens if I literally do nothing right now? This question alone filters out a shocking number of terrible financial opportunities. Third, you must build some financial slack into your life. You need robust emergency funds, low fixed costs, and large cash buffers. These reserves essentially buy you time. And time is exactly what removes the pressure to act quickly. Unnecessary pressure is precisely what causes rushed, expensive mistakes. The secretly wealthy fully understand that being able to wait is an absolute superpower. And the best part is that this superpower is totally free to develop. You can build it just by adding a deliberate pause into your daily routine. Never let anyone artificially rush your hard-earned money out of your pocket. Quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you are finding these insights valuable for your journey. The fourth sign someone is secretly wealthy is how they handle a rising income. At some point, their income went up, but their lifestyle simply did not follow it. They did not immediately upgrade everything they owned all at once. They absolutely refused to turn every single raise into a new monthly payment. They kept a tight grip on their baseline cost of living. They lived the exact same general life, just with a massive financial margin underneath it. And we need to be clear that this is not extreme frugality. It is definitely not about miserable deprivation. It is highly intentional restraint. And this is honestly one of the biggest fundamental drivers of actual wealth. Because when your income rises significantly faster than your spending, 3 amazing things happen. The new surplus can be aggressively invested. Your financial security buffer grows incredibly quickly. and your overall optionality in life drastically increases. But lifestyle inflation is a very sneaky enemy. It is dangerous because it genuinely feels like earned progress. You got a big raise, so you tell yourself you deserve to upgrade your apartment. You are doing well, so why not lease a much nicer car? But the trap is that it locks you into much higher monthly obligations. The classic book, The Millionaire Next Door, really stuck with me on this topic. The authors found that most real millionaires do not actually live in expensive neighborhoods. They absolutely do not drive flashy luxury cars. They simply do not display visible wealth, even though they have incredibly high incomes. Their defining trait was never just earning more money. It was their mastered ability of controlled consumption. Wealth accumulates rapidly in that quiet gap between what you earn and what you spend. So think of your income like water pressure, and your lifestyle like a pipe. If you keep widening the pipe every single time the pressure increases, nothing ever fills up. But if you keep that pipe perfectly stable, suddenly you have massive reserves. If you want to avoid this trap, you need to save your raises before you feel them. Automate your investing so the extra money disappears before your lifestyle absorbs it. Separate your physical comfort from your social status. Spend freely on sleep and health, because those are true investments. But be ruthlessly selective with any status-driven upgrades. The wealthy consciously choose to keep the pipe stable, to actually build wealth. The fifth sign someone is secretly wealthy reveals a total shift in how they view the world. They no longer ask, "How much does this cost?" as their very first question. Instead, they ask, "How long will this take?" They ask, "Is this truly worth my mental energy?" Or they wonder, "Could I simply buy this time back?" It is not that they stop caring about price entirely. They are not reckless with their funds. But time becomes the primary unit of measurement that they optimize for. Why does this profound shift matter so much? This usually happens once money stops being the terrifying bottleneck in your daily survival. When you start optimizing for time, your entire reality changes. You start delegating tasks much sooner. You focus deeply on high-leverage work that moves the needle. You completely stop penny pinching in ways that actually cost you precious hours. Here is a brutal truth that I have learned over the years. Wealth compounds the absolute fastest when your time is spent on high-value decisions. It grows when you focus on skill building, proper rest, and true recovery. People with a scarcity mindset aggressively protect their cash. But people with an abundant mindset violently protect their attention and their time. If you want to start thinking this way, calculate your rough hourly value. Divide your annual income by your total working hours. Use this number as a simple thinking tool, not a rigid mathematical rule. If a task costs less than your hourly value and saves you time, outsource it immediately. Second, identify your biggest time leaks. List out the tasks that you repeatedly avoid or heavily resent. These are your prime targets for automation or elimination. Buy your time back intentionally with better tools or direct flights. These are not luxuries if they meaningfully improve your core focus. Protect your best hours from low-value tasks at all costs. Every single entrepreneur knows that time is the most valuable resource you can manage. High-level focus is what separates those who build wealth from those who stay busy. You must build systems that work for you while you focus on the big picture. When you stop trading your time for pennies, your potential becomes absolutely limitless. Managing your energy is just as important as managing your bank account balance. Truly wealthy people own their schedule before they own a fleet of sports cars. Instead of juggling multiple confusing tasks, try to centralize your life and your goals. This allows you to stay hyper-focused on the high-leverage things that actually matter. I learned this the hard way when I started my very first professional project. I went from a rough idea to a working system. By focusing only on the essentials, by streamlining my life, I was able to grow much faster than my competitors. You should always be ready to invest in yourself to keep your systems running smoothly. It has never been easier to start taking your personal time management seriously. Just remember that the goal is freedom, not just having a larger number in the bank. The final sign is the one that flawlessly ties all of this together. Secretly wealthy people simply do not need you to know about their money. There are absolutely no subtle, humble brags. There are no accidental mentions of their portfolio size. There is zero lifestyle broadcasting on social media. If you ever find out they are wealthy, it is usually entirely by accident. Their core identity is just not built on their net worth. Therefore, they never use money to signal their identity to strangers. Needing others to see your wealth is an incredibly expensive habit. Constant signaling behavior inevitably leads to massive overspending. It leads to decisions fully optimized for image instead of actual financial outcomes. But quiet wealth allows your money to stay safely invested. It compounds beautifully, totally unpressured by the disease of social comparison. The less your money is used for external validation, the more efficiently it works for you. Author Morgan Housel perfectly notes that wealth is exactly what you do not see. It is the expensive luxury cars that were never bought. It is the shiny lifestyle upgrades that were actively declined. The wealthiest people I know never drive the absolute nicest cars on the road, but you would immediately notice the breathtaking freedom they have when making decisions. They can comfortably say no and walk away from bad deals. They can take bold risks because their wealth is not tied up in fragile appearances. Most average people are trapped playing a losing status game, but the secretly wealthy are playing the true wealth game behind the scenes. They know the highest ROI comes from investing in assets and buying back their freedom. Those are the undeniable signs that someone is secretly wealthy. And the best part is that you do not need $1 million to start building these traits. These are powerful mindset shifts and daily habits that you can adopt right now. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you found this breakdown helpful, please share it with a friend who might need it. Please subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the psychology of success. Hitting that button is completely free and helps the channel grow tremendously. I will see you guys in the next video tomorrow.